So let me uh, check this out, see how it's working. Uh, if we're working, I think we're live. We got power too. Did you hear what I said? Power, like electricity. Let's see if we are live here. It's showing that I am live. Yes, people. And quickly, I want to share it to the groups, the fasting groups. Welcome, everybody. Cut that off. Is that Faith checking in? Me and Faith, we've been fighting for a few minutes here. Brother, sister fight. It's okay though. Share to a group. Let's see. Invite, but that one. There we go. And how is everybody doing today? Good morning to you too. Abadi Sa Asabui and Abadi Agioni for me. Good evening. And a couple days of no electricity. Not that it's a super deal, but it was blazing yesterday. What's going on? We're live, Aaliyah, so you behave yourself. I know you're dying to cut up, but I'm counting on you behaving today. I'm going to sit this down here for a minute because it's hot as heck, that phone. It's like really, really hot. So we are on day 14 of our 30-day Friends and Family Fast. And most of who have started at the beginning in the rhythm, or at least the first, at least if you're in your first week, you're going good. How about that t-shirt? I can be abrasive. And y'all don't be agreeing with that neither. Angel Brown, welcome aboard. No, and actually this is, because people have read this shirt when I was at grocery stores and stuff. Norton is one of the companies I get my sandpaper from, doing my floor business. So that's what that relates to. I could be abrasive. Michelle, there you go. No, we've been doing 10 o'clock, Michelle, because originally I wanted to do 10. I was doing 8 because I was thinking at 6 it would be dark here. That would be 6 p.m. my time, but it's still enough light. Like now, I'm inside, but I'm just using a light from the room, so that's good. And I was out in the elements today, and I am glad the sun is not beating me the heck down, because I sure been out there. I mean, I'm getting dark. Uh, but no peeling. Roof by Friday, Thursday, Friday, I think I'll be heading out there and then unpack and be settled and not using the dining room table for my armoire and dresser and do that. So today, we are on day 14, 1-4. Let me see. Oh man, what? Now I'm losing it now. So it's Moya and Billy, Tattoo, and A, Kano, Sita, Saba, Tisa, and why are we blanking out on number 10? So, and I think it's, we're not even going to guess. So I was going to try to say 14 and it's Humi, I think it's Humi na Nane. No, yeah, Humi na Ne. Humi na Ne. I think that's it. If Rhonda was here, she'd get me straightened out. So anyway, day 14, when really was supposed to be day 13, I decided I was going to share my journey. And I thought I'd share it too, because a lot of people have commended me on how disciplined I am and all of these things, and really to some belief that I just miraculously one day just threw my hands up and said, that's enough, and now I'm a vegan, raw vegan, eat mostly fruits, and yada, yada, yada. And my journey wasn't like that. And most of my life journeys and breakthroughs haven't been that way. Most of them have been a result of a breakdown. So just a little start early on as a child and growing up in the South Bronx, Claremont Village Projects, when the projects was like brand new, it was a nice thing. But early on, I had real bad sugar addiction. I remember I'd go to, as soon as I get money, like if I got $1, you get a lot with $1, but I'd get like maybe 15 or 20 of the penny candies, the Mary Janes, the little like cylinder gums wrapped in there, the candy corns, like all of that stuff. And then I get the snow cones, and I get the honey buns, and all the essential, to get yourself to a diabetic level. So I was like on that as a kid, and there was really a rush even going to get it. It was an excitement. Feed to make sure I have this. Yeah, so I don't know why it should be that way. I don't have it. I don't have it set up that way. And let me, in case I shouldn't have the audio on the mic for the phone, but just in case it is, I cut that off. So you can let me know if it's still looping like that. So I might have to restart it, but I think we're going to be okay. I'm kind of thinking I got this right today. I was working on it. Like this is probably the biggest cup, you'd have at the house. I don't even think we had that one. So I used to sugar. So that had me early on, and for that. And I'm going to see if I have anything on here, which I don't. I have everything down. So I'm going to have to go with it. My apologies. But anyway, he was dealing with that, and I'm going to see. There's a mic set in there which I cut off, and maybe that had something to do with it. And, we'll go from there. So maybe that's it. Okay, that could be it. I just saw that there. Terry J, welcome aboard. So anyway, he was dealing with that, and I was just sitting there like in a trauma, like in a daze, and I didn't say anything. I know it was consoling my brother Butch, and I'm sure I needed consoling and reassurance. Let me see. I'm going to see if I can figure out why this is in and out, because it really shouldn't. I'm going to, let me see. Let me see what I can come up with here. Bear with me a second. Just regular live Facebook. So I'll give a second to see if y'all can let me know. So I'll wait to hear. From everyone. Getting the echo. See if that does anything. I think that may have been it. Let me see. I think I had the Bluetooth speaker on, so maybe that was it. Hopefully that was it. And we'll see. I'm going to continue on, and maybe we'll get a thumbs up or something letting me know that it's clear. So, and then I'll just go on, continuing with my story. if that's good. So anyway, uh, during that time, I was traumatized, but I never asked for consolence. I just sat there quietly in terror. And my dad was consoling everyone else and not knowing that I needed consoling. And, my dad was on his own point, his growth path where just being emotional and cuddling and hugging was foreign for him, but he was doing a tremendous job. So no one knew what I was going through, and I didn't let anyone know what I was going through. And I think from that point on, I just took on that suffering and silence and not letting people know um, what was going on with me. So, and that went on years and years. And then the food addictions, and then just the rush, just addicted to that external stimulation. So food was the main one, and and then also the the caretaking, taking care of people, or being able to help people. Like in Bronx, they had the tough guys and all of that stuff. How are we doing out there now, Angel? And and I wasn't a tough guy and stuff, and so they used to always try to get money, pick on me, and it took a lot for somebody had to hit me for me to fight back. I wasn't just going to fight, and so that's just the way it was. But I know when it was time for tests, everybody loved Mark because everybody sat around me. I was like the king of 882. That was our classroom in the 8th grade, and I had all the answers, and it was something I got out of that. Okay, I'm not hearing any more from anyone, so I guess I'm doing okay. So I got something out of that, it's like having the answers and being able to fix it, and I took on that role for a long, long, long time, and then in my early teens, and got introduced to smoking weed. My neighbor Jerry, who moved to Long Island, and at the bus stop, and he, said in his Italian voice, "Hey, you guys get high?" And you know, we both said, "Yeah." Me and my brother. I don't know if my brother ever smoked weed before, but I didn't, and that started that, and that was just a fitting in thing, and then eventually that led to alcohol, and alcohol was like really like the magic drug because I wasn't afraid not to relax. I wasn't scared to talk to the ladies. I could even ask them to give me some, where before I was scared to just ask them to dance. And then I could dance, and somehow I could figure out the beat and all of that. And it was a dance out called La Hustle. And I learned that, and a lot of people was never able to get that. And all of that was like the alcohol was allowing something out that I hadn't figured out how to get out on my own. And, and that went good. And then the DJing brought a lot of attention. But still inside, I was still that same child, like not happy inside, although active. Lots of women, like I was like the pass around DJ. Whoever wanted to take me, it was like, here, pick me, pick me. So I went with whoever got me. I wasn't, I was with a lot of women, but I wasn't like I had a mat game or nothing. I just went with how they were calling for up, and and I did okay. But I was just glad anybody liked me, so I just went with that, and and did that. And through that process, I would take some of the guys down to Manhattan to cop. They sold drugs, so I would take them there. I was the driver. Always loved driving from when I first got my license. And they would always give me some product. Like it was cocaine. I would give it to other people, and then eventually I tried it, and I tried it some more, and then let me think, Champagne. You started off with the nasty stuff. No, what am I talking? My first drink was Cold Duck, and I knew I was destined to have problems because I took the cap off. It was a quart. I took the cap off and threw it away. It never dawned on me that there should have been some left over. And, but from that, it came to cocaine. And the cocaine was really a bad problem, but I was selling, so it wasn't as apparent, because I was selling way more than I was consuming. And anyway, from that, it came to freebasing. Before they was making cracker, and then went on that, and then that was like a long, long run, and then that ended at 30. And at 30, it just stopped because just one day I had enough. I had never had enough. It wasn't a case of me not having enough. It was a case of me not having enough money to continue. But it was never, okay, I'm good. But that was like the first time that I was good, probably since I first tried it. And when I was married at the time, and my wife said if I didn't get help, that I wasn't going to see her and my son David, and I got help, and I went through that, and that was incredible to be able to be free from that. Greetings, Melissa. But then what I was left with was this 30-year-old man without drugs to medicate my way through life, and my thought process and thinking and everything was like a child. Greetings, Dave. So I still process stuff like a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old, still from a narcissistic and self-absorbed and still frightened child. So I was 30 years old and then married and a new son, and then by the time I was a year and a half clean, me and the wife had separated, and I was a single dad, and my son was living with me most of the time. And starting a year and a half into a floor business, and just like clueless, but not one to give up. So I was learning to be an adult, learning to raise a child, and learning to run a business, and trying to stay clean. And staying clean and managing. I went through a lot of process, but I managed, and then I wasn't throwing money away on drugs anymore, even though I didn't do a great job managing money, because I would do stuff like the floor business is doing good, but this is unmanageability. I might have, and this is like in the early 90s, I might have $15, $20, $30,000 in the bank, $30,000 in the bank, and I come home and the water's cut off because I didn't pay the $100 water bill. Because when they sent the bill, I didn't think that meant anything, and when they sent the late notice, I didn't think that meant anything, and when they sent the cutoff notice, I didn't think that meant anything. I thought when they put the thing on my door said, if you don't pay by Monday, then that meant I had to get a check and stick it under the door Monday morning, which almost always I forgot. And just that unmanageability. But I was able to take care of myself and manage, and I was able to pay my bills, and I had my son, and we ate good. We ate rich food. So I ate like how I grew up with. So I had the best cuts of steak and the Minute Maid juices that was packed in there, and the milk, and I'm eating healthy, so I'm definitely doing the 2%, 1% milk, and peanut butter and jelly, and all of the stuff that I was taught was good, and I was eating all this rich food, coming from, like 5-6 years of regularly fasting. And when I fasted, I'm talking about when I was smoking crack and not eating for 2 or 3 days at a time. So I was doing like a drug fast, so just drugs and alcohol and cigarettes for 2-3 days at a time. But now I'm clean and I'm able to afford these things. And we're eating out every now and then, and all of this rich food. And I had already started aging. My hair I already had white strands in my middle 20s. And that was coming. But now it's like, it seemed my energy was just like rapidly depleting. And I remember like at 34 years old, I couldn't dunk a basketball. And when I was younger, I mean, I wasn't like incredible, but I could get my head to the rim. So I was able to do that. And then at 34, I couldn't dunk a basketball. Or I'm going to say, no, by like 37, and my back was stiffening, and eventually arthritis, and then my hair was going bald, and my skin was even, like how this is where I need a tan, that's how it was on my fan. I had to wear glasses, my vision wasn't good, and I slept a lot. I slept like 8, 9 hours a night, and I'd use the alarm clock to get up like 7 in the morning, and I was still tired, and I needed a nap. If I was still or driving in the middle of the day, greetings, Yvonne. What's up, Shell Rock? If I was driving or still in the middle of the day, I had to take like a 2-hour power nap, and I didn't have this. I just didn't understand. I'm glad Sheldon's on here because he's a part of the story. I wonder if he remembers. And anyway, I would get that, and then I would just get that tired feeling. And when I was 35, my buddy Artie gave me this book, Back to Eden, Jethro Clark. We had a birthday party at the house in Herndon, Sheldon. I think you remember. And I looked at this book, and I was like, what the hell is this for my birthday? And I just knew it was about like vegetarian or something, but I was like, wow, this is like, Artie's a vegetarian, but I was like, that's for Artie and hippies and people in India. Like, what is he giving me this book for? And I was really dismissive like that about other things. And I continued to get worse and worse. And then at 39 years old, I opened up the book again, and it resonated with me. And it made sense, and I could understand it. I knew that the image that I had of myself at 80, 90 years old was vibrant, and energetic, and full of life, and being able to take care of myself. And the way I was at 35, I said at that point, when I'm 50, I will be old. And it just didn't add up. And even though the doctors said, your everybody ages different. I knew like my friend Omar and Pete, like they were losing their hair earlier, like in their 20s, and I was like catching up to them already, and it just didn't make sense. And nobody in my family had gone bald of the men on my dad's side, and so I was searching for answers, and I searched for answers because I didn't believe what they told me. I just knew something was. Found this book, and I started reading that, and I started making some changes. And a friend of mine, Kevin, my buddy Mo, turned me on to this guy named Kevin. He told me about this Gary Knowles. So I would listen to Gary Knowles about his political stuff. And then one day I saw he had a health show, and I started following that. And what he was saying just made sense to me. It was different from what I was taught, but it made sense. And then he had this book, 1 Year to Change Your Health. And it was like every 2 weeks, take something unhealthy out and add something unhealthy in. And at this point, I need to stop doing the work because I had chronic rhinitis and inflammation. I was super sensitive to dust. I refinished wood floors and installed wood floors. So how about that? And anyway, my chiropractor, Dr. Tim, he said he was at a seminar, and they said that really 99% of African American babies, or I guess still it's African American, one and the same, are allergic to dairy, and 100% of adults are. And he said, let's just try 3 weeks of no dairy. And I didn't even know everything that was dairy. So in addition to like just milk and eggs and cheese and butter, but then stuff that said casein and low fat, and all of these other things that I didn't know constituted dairy. I had to read all of those, and I took that out. And in 3 weeks, after 7 years of chiropractic service, in 3 weeks, I didn't have any back pain. And my friends that know me, they know what I do is what they call backbreaking work, and you don't hear me complain about that. And so from that, I started that Gary Knowles thing: take something in healthy, take something out. So the dairy was the first thing, and then I think it was uh, honey instead of sugar, and then I think it was green tea instead of coffee. And I did the best that I can with the knowledge I have for the year. And by the time the year was up, I was a pescatarian. I just ate. After that, I lost the taste for fish, and that's how I became a vegan. I'm gonna put the light on in here because it's getting darker. Uh, so that you don't think I'm too dark. Yeah, that's better. So anyway, so that's how I became vegan, and I didn't even know the term vegan. I just knew that I didn't eat any animal. And I had gave up honey just because, I don't know, something felt disruptive about it. And I was eating soy that first couple of years and stuff that tastes like that. And it's a cafe in Vienna, Sunflowers, and they made like General Tso's and fried chicken and all of that out of soy and vegetable protein. And it was good. And then, then after a year I was raising my kids that way, and we was able to have some tasty things and all of that. And it was a good transition. Oh, greetings, Adia. And as I learned more, I did better. So then I found the soy was really making me mucus and all of that. And so we gave that up and did different things. And then about 3 years in, I went to a raw vegan workshop. I had never heard of the term, but my friend Claire invited me. She's like big sister, spiritual mentor. I want to share this first off. I was before I went to the raw vegan thing, maybe about 2 years vegan, me and, or 3 years, and my son's mom were vegan, and we were going to like the potlucks and the workshops and the talk. And Clara had a speaker at her house, and I don't remember what she was talking about, but it was all of these people there. And then people would say, "How long you been vegan?" And this guy said, "Oh, I've been vegan 25 years. I was 30." And we were like a couple of years into this, and all of these people were huge. They were like big people, and they said like they've been vegan. We might need to rethink this. Maybe this isn't a good thing. Dried fruits and only particular fruits and the greens. He said I could have fish if I want, but I was no longer eating fish. And I was like cool with that, but I just got this bread from Whole Foods that wasn't getting thrown out, and I had my fruit juice. But then when I left there, I kind of felt like he took my money, because I was like, that's not what I came here for. I came here. I mean, I'm glad to know this, but I came here about how I'm emotionally processing this stuff. So that was Thursday, and then on Friday, I just did my regular thing. I mean, I had his list, but maybe from fruit juice, which he said no, and then had the loaf of bread, and I was driving and working, drinking the fruit juice and the bread, and then fruit juice, and then the fruit juice was gone. My son's mom in like 3 months, and she was pregnant, and I decided she wasn't going to allow me to be a part of that, but I just kind of made peace with it. But this day I decided to call her up, and before long I was calling her up and cussing her out real bad, and then like who knows why. And then after that I was crying on the phone with her, and then all these emotional changes. I got off the phone, I was crying, and my buddy Sheldon that called, that's like one of my longest and best friends, and I was crying. He was pretty afraid for me, like he didn't know what to do, and he was coming down. He was going to drive down from New York because he was worried about his brother, and we were talking. He was talking through, and I was just driving everywhere, just driving and talking and crying. And then I went to, it's called a vitamin shop, and Gary Knowles used to make these protein bars, and I liked those, and I picked up a couple of those, and I was talking to Sheldon. I started eating that, and then he said, "Okay, well, I'm going to get ready and get on the road. You're going to be okay till I get there." And I said, "Yeah, what are you talking about?" And I said, "I'm good. You don't have to come down. I'm good." Just like that, like within 5 minutes. And he never came down, and I was good. And that was the first time that I understood the food and my blood sugar, how it could affect my emotions. I'd never made that connection. I could understand the arthritis and me wearing glasses, but not emotionally. And from that time on, I followed that protocol. That was on Friday. Then that Saturday, I got up at 7 without the alarm clock, and that was good. And then I took a nap. I took a nap that Saturday, but just like an hour nap, and I felt good, and I went to bed. And then Sunday, I got up at 7, and I stayed up all day, didn't need a nap. And I wasn't pushing it or anything, I just didn't need a nap. And then that Monday, I got up at 4 o'clock, and was like wide awake, wide awake. And I had joined the Gold's Gym a week before, and I remember they opened at 5, and then like 5 or 5:30, I said, well, let me go to the gym. And I went in the gym, and I worked out like a madman. I was like 45 minutes weight training, and then I got on a treadmill, and I think I did like 6 to 8 small meals. So I had like something before I went there, something after, and then I was waiting for like 8:30 because I had a job schedule, and I was going to call a customer to reschedule because I figured I was going to be getting tired and have to crash pretty soon. And that never happened, and I was just wide awake and steady till 4:30 at night. Uh, to 10:30 at night, and then the next morning I got up at 4 o'clock. And from that time on, my like normal schedule is I get up at 4:30, and I go to bed at 10:30, and I'm rested and I'm energetic throughout the day. And that was in the course of a Thursday going to see a naturopath for the first time till Monday. So that's all of that. And then by the time I did this workshop a couple years later with the Raw Vegan, it was Doug Graham, and he talked about getting most of his foods from fruits. So it was mostly fruit. And I was leery of fruits coming from the hypoglycemic background. So I tried it out, but not so much fruits. And after about, actually the first one was the Botanicals, and theirs wasn't a lot of fruits. It was greens and other stuff, and I was doing that, and after about 2 or 3 months, I didn't feel well. And it was different than cleansing. I was like really withering away, and I didn't have the strength. And really the only thing that was keeping me was the green juices I was making. And so I stopped that, and then a year later, I went to Doug Graham's workshop, and he talked about more fruit, and like really 80% fruit. So I tried that, and that went well for many years. And then, so that's really what was on my journey. And through the course of it, I've made adjustments. And, that's one of the things with this path of not just the diet change, but personal responsibility, is that some things you're going to have to figure out. I've tried and see. I feel so bad when I have cooked foods. It's just I don't feel full. Like I could be full and I still want more. It's like a addictive or unsatisfying sensation, even though the belly can feel tight. But that's what the cooked foods do. So, and then the raw foods, I don't get that. I know when I'm full, and especially if I eat simple. And now mostly I eat fruit. I can tell you about the biological aspects and how we design, but really I'm just doing it now because this feels right for me. And I have some greens sometimes. I have a salad. I don't make the big salad I was known for. And like my refrigerator just has 2.5 liters of coconut water and a couple of mangoes. And I got 2 pineapples sitting upside down on the counter that, that's going to be the next couple days. And I'm fine, and it's no stress. It's no worry. It's no thinking about, what am I going to eat next? When am I going to eat next? Or any of those things. It just, it works out fine. I'm just, reload. I think I'm still on, but we'll see. I think we're still on, but I'm just checking here to see because I'm not seeing it. The feed looks like it's frozen, so just want to make sure I'm still with you and you're still with me. Okay, looks like I'm still on. So it was showing frozen on here, so be better with actually showing light on me, but we'll make do. Uh, what So now I'm sharing the information, and I see deaths prevalent in my family. You know, both my brothers died early, 39 years old. One HIV from drug use, and my brother right over me, Larry, at 59, and really from complications just from liver and everything from alcoholism, and then after, but he died sober, but then still eating the rich foods, and my dad died at 76, and my uncles, and all my uncles on my biological father died, I think like in the 70s or 60s, early 70s or 60s, and the women maybe to the early 80s, and so all across the board, that's how it's been. So, and I think uh, I'm one of the few in my family, if any, or maybe one or two of the men that are clean, like that don't use alcohol, drugs, or just chemicals as a way to get through the day. So, and that's just to say, it's possible. It's possible. You can do it because I've done it, and it's not. I was sharing with my buddy Kevin Dow today. Like when people say, "Man, you know, you stop getting high," and my friends I used to hang out with, Sheldon and all of them, I had to stop hanging out with them because I didn't want them to know that when we went and got our heads banged out that night and they dropped me off at my house in Union, Hempstead, that when they dropped me off, I went back out and I was going for another 2 or 3 days. I didn't want them to know that, and I couldn't understand why it was like that for me. And they got up and they talked about how tired they was when they went to work, and I didn't go to work. I lost that job, and I had to go through that with me. But that was just my path and my my journey, and it was okay. But all of these things didn't happen just because I'm disciplined uh, and all of that. A lot of this, and most of it is because I came in under the Grace and Mercy program. That in spite of my mistakes, in spite of my blunders, and all of those things, God, universe, whatever you need to call it, or if you need to call it, or you need to identify it, whatever that is, has continued to create an opening for me to succeed in spite of setbacks and failures. Even with my health and our health in general, we're actually pretty healthy considering how we take care of ourselves. Most of the animals in the animal kingdom would die super early if they ate and processed life the way we do. So it's amazing that we're not even sicker. But some of these things are not a necessity. The pain and suffering, sickness. And like I said, at 34, 53, and even like with practice, and I just felt like that day. And I'm sure if I trained and that was important, that's something else I could do. I said it was something I was going to do, and where I'm going to move to have a basketball court. But I said I was going to practice. We'll see how that goes. And I don't know why the light is blinking, but we're going to go with it. And so that's my journey. That's how I got here. And in the last few years, I've been working with people to help them discover their own healing, but limited by my time consumption, mainly with the floor business. But that was the bread and butter. But I just said this past year that I'm going to trust in the universe to create abundance enough for me to live and prosper and have a comfortable life with what I'm to do right now, which is the wellness and also the DJing, um, and also do the retreats. So I'm working on some things here so I could do some small groups, maybe um, 5, 6, 7 people or a couple of couples. And I think I'm going to, I had a house I wanted to get to, but I may possibly get a larger one so I can bring people there or just possibly get both of them in. Let people come here, learn some about the continent, or at least Tanzania, and live plant-based and just experience something different without food being like what I'm going to eat being a large consumption of the daily energy. So that's my story. And if you have questions or something, you can type them in here and I can answer them. I'm going to get. I'm like kind of hungry now, or even thirsty. My coconut water is done. But I appreciate you all joining me. And if we keep this power thing right, then uh, we'll be back on here tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock for my friends over here in Tanzania. And again, thank you everybody. And y'all have a wonderful rest of the day, whatever time zone you are. Peace and abundance. And let me turn these things off here. It's like all of these different controls.